Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited. I have another 4G pan and tilt trail camera. Now when the pan and tilt 4G cameras came out, you had very few options. There was only a couple available out there. Now that has all changed. Their popularity has skyrocketed, and for good reason, and there are a lot more options out there. Today it is a pan and tilt camera from Campark. I used a lot of Campark trail cameras. I used some of their action cameras. They now have a 4G pan and tilt camera. I'll do a quick unboxing, show you what you get with this camera. I'll give you my initial thoughts after seeing this for the first time, but then most importantly, I'm gonna put this camera to the test. I'll activate it and start using the 4G camera. I'll demonstrate its panning and tilting. I'll show you sample videos that I get from this camera. All of that right ahead. But first, let's get into the unboxing. So here we go. It is very simplistic packaging. Virtually no information on there. Let's look inside to see what we get in there. We get a user's manual, and it is the PTZ camera. We also get an easy start guide and the included SIM card. This is what's going to give you the 4G signal, and it says it works with Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. This camera comes with a solar panel and an extension cord to run that solar panel. Here is the camera itself. We'll take a closer look at that in just a second. Also includes a mount for the solar panel. There's another mount that's going to help mount the camera. It's a metal mount. Here is a charge cord for the initial charge of the camera if you don't use the solar panel. It does have a tree strap, and it's black with a plastic buckle on it. And there are also some screws. So let's take a closer look at the camera itself. It's actually quite compact when you compare it to my hand there. It's one of the smallest pan and tilt cameras I've seen. Again, it does have motorized panning, and then you can tilt this. Of course, you have your lenses here, have your PIR sensor, your camera lens, and you have some IR lights. On the side here, these are actually antennas. They're built into the camera, but they do have a little bit of movement there. I'm assuming maybe you can get some better signal if you adjust them, but it has one on either side. And that's all the further it moves. It doesn't move very far. On the top of the camera, it actually has a battery built into here, and it's all part of the camera. This does not separate. This is all built together. On the back here is where that metal base plate would mount to. A couple of screws here on the side. And I'm not sure how you use the tree strap yet, but we'll have to figure that out here in a bit. On the bottom of the camera here, there's a rubber plug. Inside here, you will have to supply a micro SD card, and then the data SIM card also goes in there. Now that is included, but again, you'll have to supply the micro SD card. So I wanted to give you a demonstration of exactly how the app looks and operates. I'll show you how you can pan and tilt this camera. I'll also show you how you can review past recorded videos that the camera has detected motion and recorded a video. As you can see, I'm standing fairly close to the camera. That's simply so you can see how the camera reacts. But keep in mind, this is a cellular camera. I could be 10 feet away from this camera, or I could be 1,000 miles away, and it works all the same. So this Campark camera operates on the U-Box app. You can simply pull up the U-Box app if you have numerous different cameras operating on this free app. You select the camera you want to open up, in this case, the Campark. As you can see here, it gives a near live feed. There's very little lag time, and so you can at any time from anywhere log into this camera and see exactly what it's seeing. Now, one of the key features is you can go back and see recorded events. When the camera does sense activity, it sends you a near instant notification as that activity is still happening that there has been motion. So if you would walk in front of this camera, within seconds you get a notification, hey, there's been activity. All the while the camera is recording the video. So it does not have to wait until it's done recording in order to send you that notification. And if you so choose and you're quick enough, you can actually log into the app and see exactly what caused that motion. If the animal is still there, or if somebody had walked in front of your camera, you get that notification. You can log in and get this live view. To go back through past recorded events, you simply hit the cloud button here and it gives you a list or a thumbnail picture of what the recorded event was. It's listed here by days and time, and you can simply scroll back through previous days and see what videos were recorded. At any time, you can select a video and it brings it up and plays back the recorded event on that day and that time. As you can see here, a deer was in front of the camera. It also has audio on the app, so I can hear what was going on at the time of the recording. Let's go back to the main menu and to the live feed again. From there, in the upper right-hand corner is a gear icon. It gives you all the different settings that are available with this camera. Now you get complete access to all the settings that are available on this camera. You can simply go through and change different settings like the detection sensitivity. I'm currently running the camera on high, and I actually found that to be best for my situation. But of course, if you're getting too many false triggers, you can reduce that to medium or low. Another thing I'll point out is the microphone icon here on the live feed. Remember, from anywhere, you can click on that and speak through the microphone that's on the camera. So you'll be speaking into your smartphone. It'll be transmitted through the speaker on the camera. It's a pretty nice feature. There are several other features available. You can change the night vision from white LEDs that are going to give you color videos at night to the infrared that's going to give you that black and white video at night. A little more conspicuous. It's what most trail cameras have. You have the choice of that option right here in the corner of the live feed. When it's the light bulb, that's going to be the bright white lights. It's going to give you a color video at night. If you click it again, you get the red ring of lights. That's the infrared. You'll get the black and white videos at night. The last thing I'll touch on is the pan and tilt. So in the lower left hand corner, if you tap that, it brings up the pan and tilt option. It gives you a speed icon here, and you can select from low, medium, or high speed. I'll keep it in the middle in medium speed. Then you can simply pan and tilt. So if you push that button, you can see the camera moves from side to side, and you can also move the camera up and down. You can see there's a little bit of a lag time there, but it works fairly well. This gives you a great option to scan the area. Maybe you're using this as a security, or you have it as a trail camera but want to see down another trail or in a different direction. You can simply open up the app and pan and tilt this camera and look around in near live time. So I have been using this camera for close to 2 months. I have just showed you a demonstration of how the app works and the pan and tilt. You can also view back your recorded videos through the app, and you also get that live video feed. You can check in on your camera at any time from anywhere and get a near live view of exactly what the camera is seeing. I'm going to give you my final thoughts after using this camera for, again, about 2 months. I'll give you the pros, the cons, things that I think could be improved, the things that I really liked about this camera. I'll be showing you a lot of examples of videos that have been recorded with this camera. You can see exactly what type of quality you can expect from this camera through those example videos, both daytime and nighttime. So let's get into my final thoughts. I'm going to start out with the pros, and I really liked this camera's compact design. This camera comes with a nice camo pattern that seemed to blend into the environment very well. This camera is relatively small, especially compared to other pan and tilt cameras I've used in the past, so I like its compact design. It's ultimately going to make it easier to conceal or to hide. The solar panel has kept up for me. The temperatures have ranged from approximately 60 degrees Fahrenheit all the way down to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. In these past 2 months, that was the range. The solar panel has kept this camera charged at 100%. So I have not used this camera in sub-0 degree temperatures, but at 15 degrees Fahrenheit, rain, snow, sleet, sun, this camera has been out in that weather and seen all those types of weather and has worked just fine. I thought the video quality from this camera was acceptable. It is not the best or the most clear video of any camera I've seen, but it's more than adequate. This is a more budget-friendly camera compared to some other 4G pan and tilt cameras, and for the money that you're going to spend on this, I thought the videos were pretty good. I was also pleased with the connectivity between the app and this camera. I did not have a very good signal here on my farm, which I never do with any of my cell cams. I averaged about 2 bars of signal, but I could easily log into this camera, view back to previously recorded videos, and the live feed worked very well. Other cameras I have used sometimes struggle with that initial connection, especially if you have low signal strength. But for me, this camera performed very well, even with relatively low signal strength. I could easily connect it to the app and get that live view and play back the videos. The pan and tilt feature on this camera worked exceptionally well for me. It has those 3 different speeds that you can select from, low, medium, and high, and you can log into your app and you can pan and tilt this camera. The pan and tilt motors, as I'm standing right beside of the camera and actually panning and tilting, were very quiet. In fact, I'll show you a demonstration when I actually turned the camera, panned and tilted the camera while there were deer directly in front of it. Now, this isn't necessarily advised, and you can spook game obviously just by the physical turning of this camera, but you can take a look for yourself as I pan and tilt this camera when there are deer in front of it. Now, there's no doubt an animal can pick up even the smallest of noises, and they possibly could hear this camera panning and tilting, but it is relatively quiet when it pans and tilts. More than likely, the animals are going to see the physical movement of this camera if you do choose to turn the camera while there are animals in front of it. Ultimately, this pan and tilt design, I believe, is made that you can turn the camera in different directions when there isn't something in front of it. But I thought it would be interesting to show you exactly what happens, or what happened in my case when I turned the camera when there were deer standing directly in front of this. I also took the opportunity to turn this camera from the IR lights at nighttime to the white LED spotlight to get that color video. As you can see, this deer did notice the IR switching to the bright white light. But I want to give you an example of what it would look like to have a color video with the white LED lights with deer in the background. So the list of pros for me, again, it's compact design. It comes with the camo color. The app connected quite well. The pan and tilt feature worked just fine. It gives you the option to get those color videos at night with the white LEDs. Maybe you're using it for security and you want color videos. You also can turn it to infrared. Even with relatively low signal, the camera seemed to work just fine for me. Now, are there any negatives or things that I would like to see improved? Well, there are a list of several things that I noticed after using this camera. The very first thing we'll start out with is the mounting bracket with the tree strap. The plastic buckle on that tree strap broke the very first time I used it. I went out and attached it to the tree, snugged it up tight, gave it one last little pull to make sure it was going to be securely mounted to that tree, and the plastic buckle simply snapped right in half. So the included buckle was useless to me at that point. I simply replaced the strap with another strap that I already had here, and then it worked. Something else that I noticed along with the mounting that maybe could be improved, the panning on the camera. You have lots of flexibility there. It covers a wide range left and right. It's the up and down tilt that I had a little bit of an issue with. If the tree you're mounting this on is sloped forward slightly and you have the camera mounted on it, you simply can't tilt above 90 degrees. So you can change that angle from straight out to pointing straight down towards the ground. The problem I had is if the camera was mounted at a downward slope at all, you simply can't come up past that 90-degree angle, and so you have to find either another tree or try and block this camera up. I ran into that at several different locations when I mounted the camera. I just wish you could tilt that lens up a little bit higher instead of stopping right at 90 degrees. So the only tilt movement you have is from 90 degrees down towards the ground. It works great if you're mounting this camera extremely high or high above your head, because then of course you're gonna have the angle of the lens pointed down just naturally. But if you have this camera mounted at 3-4 feet high and you want it to point straight out, You have to make sure that camera is mounted just right or you're going to run out of the upward movement on the tilt. One last thing I'll note in the negatives, or something that maybe they could improve upon, the videos oftentimes when they start out were pretty pixelated. Again, overall the quality wasn't bad, but the quality actually starts out worse and it seems to get better as the video goes on. So if you have a 30-second video, maybe the first 5 seconds or so seem to be worse quality and then it improves. It didn't do this every single time, but I did notice that in quite a few of the sample videos that I got from this camera. So that again is something to keep in mind, not a huge deal breaker, but you want to be aware of that, that the first few seconds of the video might not be the highest quality. So those were my final thoughts. Overall, I was pleased with it. I gave you a list of the things that I think could be improved in the future with this camera, and no doubt they will continue to make some of those improvements. The camera is a budget-friendly camera, especially when compared to other 4G pan and tilt cameras. So with that lower price tag, maybe you can accept some of those things that may not be quite perfect. And along with that lower price tag, it might not have quite all the bells and whistles of some previous cameras I used, but it has some of the basic settings that give you some adjustment to make the camera perform as you will, but probably not quite as many options of other cameras that I've used. One last thing I wanted to touch on is the data consumption and the price tag per month for the data service. Again, they have an included SIM card. You do not have to buy that, but there are monthly fees associated with the data use. Now those fees start at approximately $10 per month. You can lower that down if you prepay up to a year. I think you can get it about as low as $8.30 per month when you do prepay it. So the data plans are affordable. That gives you approximately 2 gigs of data per month. That was more than sufficient for me. I had several hundred videos in the 2 months time, and I used less than that 2 gigs of data per month. Keep in mind, as you're live viewing with this camera through the app, you're consuming data. As you're viewing back recorded videos, you're using data. And as you are going through the camera's settings and changing those, this camera is using data. Now keep in mind, as this camera is recording a video, as there's animals in front of it, it sends you that near instant notification. As it's recording it and sending you that instant notification, it's using virtually zero data. It's simply when you go into the app and view back that video, or you watch that live feed, that's when you're going to consume the most amount of data. So if you'd like more information, or maybe you'd like to purchase one of these cameras for yourself, I'm going to be placing a link down in the description. It's an affiliate link, so if you choose to buy a camera, I get a small commission, and it helps me to continue to bring reviews just like this. If you have any comments or questions, please put them down in the comment section. I love hearing from you, and I really do try and get back to each and every one of you. I want to thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.